Good morning, everyone. I want you all to close your eyes for a moment and picture a street in an Indian city. Imagine yourself walking along, perhaps noticing familiar faces along the way, perhaps seeing the vibrant chaos of the bustling streets. Now, open your eyes. What else did you see? Did you notice the overflowing garbage bins? The walls stained red with pan? Someone casually littering in front of a Swachh Bharat poster? It's a paradox, isn't it? We are a nation of incredible warmth, tradition, and hospitality. And yet, when it comes to our own shared spaces, a collective responsibility seems to vanish into thin air. We see the decay, we complain about it, but then we look away. My name is Tejas Joshi, a high school student who began to ask a simple yet a profound question. Why? Why do we as a society become so incredibly apathetic to the very environment that we live in? Of course, we can play the blame game, blaming the government, a lack of rules, poor infrastructure, but that won't actually solve anything, will it? This issue, it is about something deeper, something that we as a society collectively need to address. It is about understanding what causes us to remain a bystander, rationalizing our own inaction, and the dangerous ways in which this societal dysfunction can become normalized. Today, I want to challenge this chalta hai mentality that we have adopted as a society, not by blaming, but rather by understanding. Because in order to take the first radical step towards change, we first need to understand why we look away. Let me tell you about the tragic case of Kitty Genovese, a poor woman who was horribly murdered right in front of her apartment. 38 witnesses saw it happen, yet no one came to help, not even calling the police. This particular incident gave rise to what is now known as the bystander effect. When people are in the presence of others, they are less likely to offer help to a victim. In a similar way, we also collectively stand by while our public spaces continue to degrade. The story doesn't end there. Our minds are masterfully adept at rationalizing inaction. We often say things like, this one small action of mine won't make a difference, or no one else is doing it, why should I? We know that things should be better, but we justify our lack of effort to remain in our comfort zones. And then there's the problem of normalization. When we are constantly surrounded by garbage, broken public infrastructure, and poor societal behavior, these things no longer appear to us as issues. Our brains start to adapt to this new normal. And when dysfunction becomes the norm, a motivation to work for a change eventually wears out. We become desensitized. So, how do we stop this from happening? How do we actually bring on a change? I believe that change begins with a shift in our behavior. What if, instead of looking away from the problems, we look towards the problems? Change does not start from government policies or slogans. Change starts from small, consistent actions. Change starts when ordinary people, like you and me, start doing ordinary things that matter. So the next time that you see garbage lying on the ground, don't just walk by. Stop and pick it up. The next time you see someone about to spit on a wall, have the courage to go up to them and stop them. Today, I stand here not to give you an answer, but rather to ask you all a question. What kind of a society do we want for ourselves? What kind of a future do we want for ourselves? And most importantly, what are we willing to do in order to achieve that future? So I'll leave you with this. The next time you sense that something is wrong, don't just walk by. Stop and do something, however small that it may be. Because when the millions of us start doing these things, our small actions no longer remain small. Thank you.